of the year. The first month of the year is gone. How did that even happen? Did anybody else wake up and go, wow, is it really Saturday? Is it really the last day of the month? And I guess what I want to ask you is, did you crush your goals in January? Or are you wishing you could get a restart? Like, could I get a redo on that coming out of the blocks to have the best year I'm ever going to have? My daughter Callie used to, she was a track star, went to state several times. And, she was a hurdler. Even though she was all of 5 foot, she could scale those hurdles. And it was always about how you came out of the blocks, right? It's how you start is how you're going to finish. And sometimes when you think you're beat, you are. And I want to tell you, it's those simple disciplines repeated every single day that help you to become a champion. And if you're really wanting something that could completely transform your life, what we have to do is really look within and say, am I doing the simple disciplines every single day? Or do I start and stop and start and stop and start and stop? Do I have distractions that are literally crushing my energy, my spirit, my goals, my dreams? Am I dealing with guilt or shame? Am I trying to look like something that I'm not? How many of you, this is resonating with you? How many of you are so depressed currently about the situation you're in? You don't even want to know the truth, let alone have anyone else know that truth. And I'm here to tell you, I've been there. I've had years that were the best years of my life, and I've had years that were the worst years of my life. But this year, 2026, will be what you decide to make it. And I know that some of you may say, Barb, you have no idea what I'm going through. And that is true. That is true. I don't know what you're going through. But there's someone out there that has been through exactly what you're going through right now. And somehow, by the grace of God, they survived it. That's the person that you need to look at. That's the person that you need to listen to. That's the only person that can feel the feels that you're feeling to help you get from where you're at to where you want to be. So, pop quiz. Here's a pop quiz. How many of you watched the news this week? And I can easily tell you why you're feeling the way that you are feeling. Because anyone I know that watched the news this week is feeling sad, mad, scared, disgruntled, angry, helpless. They don't have a lot of confidence about the future. It's not fair. They wish there was something that they could do. And I think that's amazing. Here's the thing. Simple disciplines repeated every single day is what's going to help you either feel good or not feel good. And I just was going back to a book from like the 1930s, The 7-Day Mental Diet. And, it's crazy because if you put yourself on a mental diet, it's okay if you see the news. I mean, you might say, Barb, we need to be informed. We can't be idiots. Okay. I see a lot of people that CNN is their constant negative news. Fox is like their Bible. Here's what I want to ask you. How do you know that what you see and what you read and what you hear is actually true? How do you know? How do any of us know? And then you yourself have those emotions that you're trying to process. And here's the hard part. Those emotions are energy that has to go somewhere in our body. I'm not just going to harp on the news. It's your daily conversations. It's your circle of friends. It's your environment where you work. It's the neighborhood, the cul-de-sac you go for a walk in. It's the person that's in your newsfeed every day. You see them. You all know who I'm talking about. Who shows up in your newsfeed and you're like, I love the way I feel. And who shows up in your newsfeed and you literally want to be that girl that does the screenshot, sends it to 5 people and says, did you see what's on social media? Let me tell you the RX Secure that. don't see it. It's not yours. It's not your burden to carry. It's not your problem. It's not your drama. There's nothing that you can do to fix the people that when you see their newsfeed, it makes you feel a certain way. So, The Mountain Is You is the book that I've been reading. If you don't do anything ever that I tell you to do, I should be getting paid a commission on this. Like, I'm literally going to find this girl and I'm going to have her speak, because I have thousands of books. I don't think there's a single book that has hit me like this book. And I've bought every copy for every diamond in our company, for every triple platinum in our company. I've given it to every kid. I even got the workbook, because here's what I learned from reading this book. And I learned this a long time ago. I just didn't know how to put it into words, but this is so true. So I want you to imagine that your body is a vessel of energy and cells. And those cells have to have nutrients. Those cells have to have energy. I'm not a scientist. I'm not even a straight A guru when it comes to the human body or nutrition. I hire those kind of people. That's not my lane. But here's what I do know. Energy is everything, and everything is energy. And my brain runs my entire body. Without my brain, I would be dead. My brain has thoughts that send signals to every organ in my body every day, all day. Now, I'm going to get off my pedestal about the news for a minute, because I haven't watched the news. But I saw what happened to my son the other day when he saw something that was on the news. And everybody knows we don't watch the news. So for him to walk in the room and be like, I just accidentally saw the news. Oh my gosh, Mom. You would not believe what just happened. Like, I don't watch the news, Mom, but this is not right. And I'm not going to get into it, but this is what happened in Chance's body. We went from, we're having a great day, we're watching college football or whatever they were doing, we're cooking in the kitchen, we're laughing with the kids, we're reading books, we're baking cookies, to like, oh my gosh, there was this signal, like a bad signal, right? And then there was this feeling of like, I can't control this. And then there was fear in the gut. And then there was anger. And then, like, these are all feelings that you have to feel. But let me ask you a simple question. If your brain cannot hold a positive and a negative thought at the same time, and every day, all day long, you want to manifest your dreams and goals, you want to have your dreams and goals come true, you want to have purpose, you want to have power, you want to make a difference, but you're so consumed with the drama of the family divorce. You're so consumed with the preacher at your church that did something wrong, and you're all going to leave the church now, right? You're so consumed with the neighbor lady that doesn't follow the HOA and her house looks so bad in your neighborhood. You're so consumed with what wasn't fair on the news, or what isn't right for, I don't know, maybe it's sports. Maybe it's something that happened because it's wrestling season and the referee didn't call the right thing. Like, there are people that will literally start a riot over, it wasn't fair that this team went to the Super Bowl, or can you believe that that was the halftime show? Like, there are people that are so perplexed about all of these things that they don't agree with, that they're just not kind. People are not kind. And I'm going to challenge you. This is a simple discipline that can change your life. Be as kind to the homeless person on the street as you would be if you met your company president. Be as kind to the person that is on the corner, freezing cold, with no food or water, as you would be if you saw Taylor Swift or Patrick Mahomes in the parking lot at the Chiefs Stadium. See, we label people and we put ourselves on this thing that gossip. Here's another one, gossip. Why do people gossip? Let me ask you a question. Why do you think people gossip? Drop this in the comments. I talked to a lady the other day that I hadn't talked to since November, and so much has happened that I could have caught her up on, but we never talked about any of it, ever. It didn't even come up because it doesn't deserve the energy. It doesn't deserve the emotion that would be in my brain, that would travel to every cell in my body. It just doesn't matter. There are controllables and there are uncontrollables. Which company went out of business? Where did they merge? What happened here? What happened there? Why are politics the way that they are? Is the weather real or is it manufactured? Like, there are a lot of things out there that we could all debate about. And maybe some of them even have some merit. This is what I want to say to you. Be kind. You don't know what you don't know. Desperate people do desperate things. They're not bad people. Here's what every single one of you is trying to do. And every single person you see in the news, good or bad, on the corner, good or bad, homeless, good or bad. Here's what I'm going to tell you. My daughter, Brooklyn, has said it a million times. If it wasn't for family, I would be homeless right now. If it wasn't for family, I would have been the girl on the streets. Every one of us is quick to judge because we're dealing with our own sense of, am I important? Do I feel important? Am I loved? Am I accepted? Am I in the clique? See, when I was growing up, I was bullied a lot because when you have red hair and freckles, like, I think I was one of 2 redheads in our entire town. There was me, the only girl that was redhead, and there was Scott Trapp in my class, the only boy I knew that was redhead. We got made fun of so bad. And here's what I remember. I didn't want to be a mean girl. I didn't even want to hang out with the mean girls. I was just trying to avoid the pain of not being on their side of the equation. I didn't approve of how they acted. I didn't want to act like them or be like them. I didn't want to wear what they wore. I didn't want to go out with every boy on the baseball team. I didn't want any of that. I just wanted to fit in. I just wanted to fit in. And gossip is literally my number one pet peeve. Everyone in our family knows if you're going to gossip, don't do it around Barb. It will not end well. And secondly, Barb doesn't watch the news. So this week, it was late. I was going to bed. Dave was laying there laughing hysterically. Evidently, his algorithm is way different than my algorithm. How many of you, when you go to bed, Kelly said it's called doom scrolling, where you go and you just scroll and you laugh. I've never done this in my life. I didn't even know it was a thing, but I could see where it would be very addictive because Dave was laughing. He was laughing so hard, I didn't even know what he was laughing at. But he was sending it in the family chat, and then they were all laughing. And so everyone was laughing, and I was like, what is so funny? And normally I would be like, that is such a time waster. I don't know why you're doing that. Why are you reading that? Why are you listening to that? And for once, I just played the understanding game. And I was like, maybe I should scroll with him. His newsfeed seems to be a whole different algorithm than mine. So I just rolled my pillow over, and next thing you knew, I was laughing hysterically. Everything wasn't so serious. It wasn't responding to all the messages, getting back to all the texts, checking all the emails, getting the post ready. Do we have the graphics for the Saturday morning call? All of a sudden, I was just relaxed and laughing. And it was so funny. I decided I would forward it to my own family chat. And we have lots of girls in our family. We have this chat called the Crazy Zorn Girl Chat. I'm the oldest of 5. And then when you take all the nieces and then all the nephews, wives, or fiancés or whatever, if you take all the girls, there's probably 25, 30 of us in this chat. And I put it in the chat. Now, do you guys want to hear something funny? Because this is legit the funniest thing ever. There was something in the news that Dave had in it. It caught my attention. So, did any of you guys see the news this week about John Travolta? When I saw it, I shared it in the Crazy Zorn Girl chat. And 2 of my nieces said, "Who is that?" And I was laughing. I was like, they don't even know who John Travolta is. And then my youngest niece said, "John who? Should I know him?" And I said, "Go tell your mom." And then my sister got in the chat, and my sister Tracy said, "Is this a real message? Why the hell is Barb watching the news? And secondly, why is she putting it in the chat?" That's the reputation I have, right? Like if someone in our town dies, they literally say, "Barb, I don't want to be negative, but did you see that so and so passed away?" Because they know that they know that they know. I can't do what I do and be sad all day long. I can't do what I do and be angry all day long. That's why I don't watch the news. It makes me mad. I want to take a side. I want to get angry. But this John Travolta news was next level news. Did you guys see the news about John Travolta this week? Did anybody see this TikTok? It was devastating when I first saw it. They said John Travolta has a flu. They thought it was COVID, but it's worse. He has Saturday night fever. And it's not just Saturday night fever. He's got chills. They're multiplying and he's losing control, but he's staying alive. I lost my mind, you guys. I literally lost my mind because growing up, my mom cleaned the Pizza Inn. And this is before Pizza Hut was a thing, right? And at the Pizza Inn, there was this jukebox. And my mom would give me and my sister some quarters. And we had this dance that we did every Sunday when she cleaned the Pizza Inn. We would have to scrape the gum out from under the tables. They had these red candles that we had to put new candles in, take the old ones out because it was candlelit. Pizza Inn had red candles, if any of you remember it. And once we got all the candles switched out and all the gum out from under the tables, we could dance. And my mom would give us a quarter. We would put it in. And my sister and I had this dance. And we would be back to back, clear across the room. And we would do this strut back to each other. And then we would bump our butts. And then we would bump the left side. And then we would turn and we would bump the right side. And then we would shimmy down to each other. And then we would back up to the opposite side of the Pizza Inn. It was like a thing. We were 3 years apart. We didn't have a little brother yet. It was just me and Lori. We were little. And we watched Grease and we danced to John Travolta, Saturday Night Fever. We weren't allowed to watch it. It was bad, bad, bad. I mean, there was a bad word in there. He kicked a trash can. He said the F word. So like they would watch it on the movie channel. After we went to bed, no kids were ever going to see anything that was rated R. Like I grew up in a completely different world, but Grease was such a thing, right? So growing up, my kids would go stay with Nana Cindy and they would watch Grease. To this day, if they see Sandra Dee and they hear a Grease song, it just takes them back because that's what music does, right? It takes you back. So many good memories, so many happy times. That's a different feeling. That is a completely different feeling than what I saw that a young girl froze to death in Kansas this week. That was devastating news, especially a teacher that so many children love. I will tell you, when you see the news and you feel a certain way, it's okay in moderation. If you got to see the news, see the news. But I'm such an empath, I never recover from it. Like, I can't do what I do and have that. I'm trying to figure out, like, why would someone kill someone? Why would this person do that? Like, how can I save them? The addict on the street, the dog that got abandoned in the freezing snow and didn't have food and water, the battered wife that had children that is running from someone that's abusive. Like, I can't process these things unless I know I have a solution and I can fix it. Now, I am a recovering people pleaser. I will admit that. And I am very empathetic. I am a very kind person. I don't allow anyone around me to talk bad about anyone around me, even when sometimes it's true. It might be true, but how do I process that to discipline what goes in? Because what goes in must come out. You ever see someone that just literally flips out and loses their mind and they're like, that was the straw that broke the camel's back? It's not what you did, it's everything that led up to that point, and then kaplooey, they just explode, right? Well, we all have emotions that we're going through. I hope you liked my John Travolta. I mean, I hope you liked my joke. That was not negative news. That was gas passing laughter. That's how funny it was. Literally, when my nieces were saying, "Who's John Travolta? Let me go get my mom." Oh my gosh, should I have her call you? Like, everyone in the chat was so upset. Like, should I have mom call you? What's in the news? And then when they read it, like, my sister Lori said, "Barb, I don't know what was funnier. The fact that Tracy was shocked that you were watching the news, or that the little girls had no idea who John Travolta was." And then Callie chimed in and said, "Wait, now I feel old because I know who he is, but my nieces don't know who he is." It was just good fun. People need more laughter in their life. People can't just be scrolling with constant negative news and think that they're going to have a good outcome. It is a shame that things that are happening in the world are happening in the world. I'm going to agree with that. It's terrible, actually. It's terrible. It's not right. None of it is right. Let me tell you why. Because we are all human, and humans are in control, and humans make mistakes. They do the best that they can with what they have at the time to do what? Survive and get through what they're getting through. End of story. So is an addict bad? Nope. An addict is trying to survive. Is an abusive husband bad? Actually, no. It's our thinking that makes it so. That abusive guy is doing whatever he can do to survive based on the emotions that are in his heart. Here's the real mic drop. Hurting people hurt people. They're not bad people. They're hurting people. And I've had a lot of them in my life. And so what I have had to do, my word for the year is discipline. I have had to really discipline my thoughts and also the way that I react. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you not to do. Don't stuff it all down and not process it, because you will get cancer. Don't pretend like it didn't happen, because you will have PTSD and all the stress trauma that leads to all other things in your life. Don't not grieve and be sad about something that's happening if you're sad. Don't be angry and not be able to express. It's better for you to be angry and express the way that you feel than to push it all down and not do anything. But what we have to do is understand what's worth arguing and what's not. Because here's what you're not going to change. All the people around you that are human, that make mistakes, that hurt people, that are sometimes not honest, that are sometimes not loyal, that are sometimes very selfish. They don't mean to be selfish. They're trying to survive because they don't know what you know. But this book that I'm reading, I can't even tell you, Transforming self-sabotage into self-mastery. Like there's one thing that you want to master in this life, and that is yourself, not everyone around you. So I'm going to challenge you this week. Stop judging people. The person who you got this boundary and you're not going to talk to them because of what they do, be the one to text. Be the one to text. You don't have to forget what they did, but you do need to forgive them. You know, I think about the crucifixion and what were the last words that Heavenly Father said. He said, forgive them, for they know not what they do. It is finished. It is finished. So here's the thing. Oh, Penny, the name of the book I'm reading, The Mountain Is You. So I think of all the things that have happened in my life that I have held down. And I think that's the reason why I today am so passionate about this. When you hold down emotions and you feel a certain way, they don't love me, they don't check on me, they don't respect me, they don't care about me, they don't call me, they don't come see me, whatever it is that you're feeling a certain way. And I think about how many people right now are lonely. You know, loneliness is like an epidemic. Isolation is literally everywhere. Everybody isolating. You know, if Dave wanted to go out with me, he would have picked up the phone, called me, said, can I get a haircut? Hey, I have a proposition for you. I want to take you to a concert. Even if he was shy and scared to death. The people today that are learning in this world we live in, they don't know how to do that because there's an app for that. There's ChatGPT. You don't even have to learn how to communicate. You don't have to show up and look good because you can put a filter on and send it in a snap. It's so different that the personal development that we were brought up on is almost a lost art. And it's my goal. Every Saturday, I do No Guts, No Story, no matter what. I'm not selling you no coaching. I'm not selling you no thing that you need to buy. I literally love this stuff. I wish that you could not have to go through the struggles that I had to go through to get to where I'm at today. I wish I could help all of you have this learning curve that you just didn't have to suffer so long. Loneliness, yeah, it's a thing. I see your guys' comments. But I was thinking this week, and I actually took notes when I was this morning in my little 5 a.m. moment. I was writing down notes because I remember traumas in my life that we just didn't talk about. So 2001, Dave's mom flew to Kansas because we were looking for his brother. And when they found him, he was not alive. So when she landed, Dave had to meet her in Kansas City at that airport and tell her in a certain wing on an escalator by the parking garage. So we go to Kansas City Airport a lot, but there's never a time that we go to the airport that I always want to like try to avoid that airline, that parking lot. And thank God there's a new airport now, right? But there would be a certain emotion that would come up. And for me, it was always guilt. I always felt so bad about what I was doing, where I was when it happened, why wasn't I there, all the things. Do any of you have certain places where when you go, it reminds you of a chapter of your life and then it takes you back there and then all of a sudden you start feeling a certain way? So we had this funeral and I barely remember the funeral. They say when you have trauma, like you don't remember certain things. I barely remember the funeral. I remember this one girl that was so messed up and she just like wouldn't leave the graveside. That's one thing that I do remember. But I remember having my kids there and I remember Chance saying, "Where is Uncle Scott?" And there was a little box and it was about this big. maybe 12 inches. Obviously, because of had to be cremation. And there wasn't a lot of closure. And I remember Chance saying to Nana, and he was 5, "That's not my Uncle Scott. He's this big." And it was so like, how do you even talk about it? So we just didn't talk about it. Like, it's just not something that you wake up the next day with your kids and go like, "Man, we sure do miss Uncle Scott. Here's why that happened," or that. It's just something that, like, how do you talk about it, right? Dave and I always said we were going to create a card company that was called Bridge the Gap, because how do you find a sympathy card for someone who has a family member take their life, right? How do you find a sympathy card for a parent whose children are incarcerated? How do you find a card for your dad on Father's Day when every card in the aisle says, "Thank you for always being there for me. You were the most incredible dad at all of my events," when your dad lives 10 hours away and you've maybe seen him like once in 4 or 5 years? Like, we always, Dave and I would go to the card aisle and we'd be like, "This is hard. Like, we need to write our own card." But there are a lot of people that are trying to normalize trauma and they can't find the words. They literally can't find the words. So they just don't talk about it, right? When my, yes, Sabrina, I have so many, my racing mind, I have so many dreams and goals and ideas. My entrepreneurial serial mind needs 2 lifetimes just to live it. But here's what happens. You have certain things happen in your life, like that trauma, like that suicide. Or for instance, as a young mom 12 years ago, when I was a top producer in a company making over 100,000 a month, and my firstborn child gets in trouble, right? You're in the public eye. Everyone knows who you are. You're leading the company training call. You have this wonderful family of kids that are, state champion wrestlers and state track stars, and your husband's coaching, and you got 100,000 a month that you're giving away more than you're keeping, and you wrote a book, and like everything looks great. And then there's this traumatic thing that happens in one of your children's lives. And it's crazy because Brooklyn actually got a letter this week from a huge law firm about social media bullying and settlements. Like that, it was traumatic what happened. And I don't think she's ever really recovered from that. But hurting people hurt other people, and mean people who are insecure attack people on social media. And people who feel a threat, whether you're in their company or not in their company, whether you're on their team or you're not on their team. Do you ever realize that insecure people who are threatened by your success, the only way that they can win is make you the villain? There is a villain and there is a hero in every good movie you're ever going to watch. And people who don't feel like they're the hero, they got to make you the villain. It's the only way they can justify that you're moving forward with your goals and dreams and they aren't. It's the only way they can justify if they're jealous of you. It's because you have something that they wish they had. I'm just going to say it. There's never been a statue erected for a critic, and anyone that's a critic is going to be mediocre at best. That's not my words. Go read The Magic of Thinking Big, page 156. I have it printed out. Here's the thing. I could be mad. I could play the victim card. They hurt my child. They took my income. They sued me. They were bullies. Or I could process that emotion. I could grow from it. I could learn the lesson, reframe it, move on, and build a freaking empire. That's your 2 choices. Because what if my life just ended and I was like over here playing the victim game with my Band-Aids and my wounds, and I was licking them, and I kept reiterating everything that happened that wasn't fair. My capacity during a time like that, because of personal development, had to be so strong. And let me tell you how the enemy works, guys. Not only did I have a child in trouble, I had a dog for 18 years that decided that night at 2 in the morning, after all of this traumatic happening was happening, January 29th, 2017, we had a cruise the next morning. I had a daughter that was so devastated and heartbroken that she had made a mistake and she had been blasted all over. And my freaking dog decided to die. Can you even imagine this? Now, I want to tell you guys what happened. I had to get on my knees and pray. I had to get on an airplane, fly to the Bahamas to show up on a cruise with 200 or 300 people. And I just had to forgive. I had to forgive. You're still going to have people hating on you. That is not God. That is not God. Forgive them, for they know not what they do. I don't worry about haters anymore. There's my business, there's not my business, and there's God's business. And I have to do what God called me to do no matter what. No matter what. My capacity has to be to lead. My capacity has to be to forgive. My capacity has to be to do the right thing, even when it's hard. And you're always going to have a critic. But what you get from those hard times, these are my notes from today. And this is so good. Get ready. Like, this is so good. What you get from going through something very painful, losing your income. I never have experienced it, but watching my mother-in-law, go through so much grief, whether it was a horrible divorce, losing a child, battling cancer, all the things. What you get from going through something so painful is you get self-sufficient resilience. You become more powerful. You have more influence. You realize that nothing will save you. Nothing will save you, which is where your inner strength comes from. And that inner strength is where the healing starts. And so all of a sudden, instead of pushing it all down and hiding in shame, not wanting anyone to know, blaming the law enforcement, blaming Facebook, blaming the news, which this is part of the reason why I hate the news. Literally a relative at KWCH decided to share it because she felt significant that it was her cousin, right? This is my cousin. Click share. I have such a heart for people that I cannot imagine ever sharing something painful someone was going through, their mugshot, their shortcomings, I can't even imagine it. Even if what they did was horrible, even if it was murder, I would never share someone's picture knowing what I know. That person has kids. They're going to see it. That person has a mom and a dad. They're going to see it. That person might have a sister or a brother. They're going to see it. It's traumatic. People make mistakes. People have trauma. People do stupid things when they're not thinking. I'll tell you this, if there was social media when we were growing up, we would have all been in jail. Because back when I was growing up, you could do crazy things. You could knock on a door and run. You could pull all the flowers out of somebody's garden. We did a lot of crazy things for fun. There was no social media, right? The healing is not going back to the person that you were before. But I want you to think about this. How many people have pushed down that they made a mistake? How many people have pushed down that they were in the news? How many people have been to prison before and nobody even knows it? Do you know one of my best friends in the industry literally did time in prison for taxes? She's a legend. She's incredibly smart. She was indicted. So was Martha Stewart, right? I'm not that I'm a big Martha Stewart fan, not that I'm saying that that's right or wrong, but a lot of people have made mistakes. There's no, yes, Sabrina, there's no perfect people out there. But being blissful and being mindful helps you understand that contrast is necessary if you're really going to have purpose. I have so much purpose and I have so much passion because of so much pain. I have so much purpose and I have so much passion because of so much pain. And I'm going to tell you something else. I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed of any mistake, any family member, any addiction, any problem, any arrest, anything that any of them have ever done. I am not ashamed because God has a plan in their life. And I'm going to tell you something. One of my favorite people to listen to is Jelly Roll. And Brooklyn always says, I can't believe my mom and dad went to a Jelly Roll concert. Let me tell you what I love about Jelly Roll. He's not trying to be perfect, but he shares his story in a way that reaches more people than I will ever reach, coming to them with a Bible and a cross and a book of rules, telling them what they shouldn't be doing. His story empowers other people to believe that there's hope, that they can too. What you get from going through something is you come out stronger instead of broken. You come out grounded instead of egotistical. You come out more self-sufficient instead of not being able to function. You come out more responsible where you used to be neglectful. You will come out more considerate and mindful. You might not be so naive like you were before the storm, but you'll be empowered. And what really excites me about this is the life that we have is so short. And if we don't take the things that we've done wrong, the mistakes we've made, or the things that we've experienced in our life, and really use that to empower other people, then there's no way that we can witness. There's no way that we can witness. And when I think about witnessing, this is what I believe. And please don't be offended by my beliefs. I literally love you even if you are an atheist. Like, I am not the hypocritical believer that's going to judge you for whatever you do. You do you. Like, you're going through what you're going through with your feelings because you're hurt, because someone did something that makes you not want to believe that way, or because of a way that you were brought up, right? I'm just going to tell you what I have learned in my life. When I have been so broken and I have been literally on my knees, if my older self could go back to my younger self and help them to bridge that gap and not to suffer for so long, this is what my older self would tell my younger self. Your glow up doesn't have to be displayed. You don't have to prove to anybody that you're having a comeback. You don't need to post your car or your mansion or hanging out with all your cool, rich friends. You don't have to have your bikini up your butt and all your cleavage showing and your contoured tan. You don't have to go have your eyebrows, your eyelashes, your roots. Like, yeah, those things all make us feel good, but that's outside validation that you're obviously still healing and you're trying to prove somebody wrong. I'm going to stop myself so I don't get too carried away on this. Your transformation is not that you go out and you show everybody what you're doing for revenge. Prioritize your heart over other people's eyes seeing what you're doing. Try to prioritize your heart. Don't convince everyone else how great your life is. Say to yourself, in my heart, inside, what do I feel? Gain self-respect. It's an inside job. God is within every single one of us. We don't have to look anywhere for outside validation. It's right here. You were born with it. You were born to be great. You're forgiven no matter what you did. Nobody is going to be at the end of your life with a scorecard that says, man, you were bad, 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 bad. We're on this planet to be authentic, to witness, and to love other people, and then we're gone. End of story. That's really the only reason why we're here. We have to find our own purpose and push through the pain. It's you having a kinder disposition to play the understanding game and forgive. It's you having accomplishments that you never would have been able to accomplish had you not been through the hard time where you get the strength. It doesn't have to be photographed. It doesn't have to be posted all over social media. You can do it without anyone knowing. And you know what? It's going to feel so good. The entire purpose of your life should not be to be afraid. It shouldn't be to feel guilty. It shouldn't be to stay on the struggle bus. Instead of being mad about what you can't control, why don't you quit overthinking it all? Quit trying to defend. Quit worrying, because worrying isn't going to protect you. It just keeps you afraid. And start understanding that wherever you're at right now, God is going to use you. He's going to use your story not as a setback, but to set you up for the biggest comeback of your life. But if you don't have a pure heart, if you're not good at the root, I was raised in a very small town, still live there. If you're not a good person, you can ask in town. Everybody knows who the town this is and who the town that is. Everybody knows who's honest, who isn't honest. They're really good at labeling people, right? But character is something that you build based on the way that you are when nobody's watching. You know, it's how you show up. It's how you deliver. It's how you give. It's how you forgive. It's how you love. People who need all the outside validation is because they're not healing. And life is so quick. It's really temporary. It's way too short to stay in isolation. It's way too short to compare yourself to everyone else. Your health declines based on the emotions that you have. Your brain is like your gut. It puts out certain frequencies that affect every organ in your body. And when you feel anger, pain, suffering, grief, resentment, jealousy, hurt, and you internalize that, it goes somewhere. Have you ever heard, she's a pain in my neck? Where do you think that came from? Do you know that when you have someone that continually hurts you and you don't address that emotion and feel through it, you got to set some boundaries. Yeah. Doesn't mean you have to keep arguing with them. Doesn't mean that you have to go post it all over Facebook. Doesn't mean that you have to tell everyone how horrible they are and how mean they are. You just got to let it go. Let them be how they are. But you got to ask yourself, why do I feel a certain way when this person does that to me? And forgive them. You don't have to let them back in, but you can forgive them. But the pain that happens in your neck is that unresolved conflict. When you have fear or worry, it goes in your belly. Fear or worry is held in your stomach and your gut. People get diarrhea. They lose their bowels. They have acid reflux. Grief. Holding on to something that you don't feel through literally causes neuropathy, clear down your legs into your feet. I was reading about this morning. I was like, if this doesn't scare you to change your thinking, change your life, I don't know what would. But simple disciplines repeated every single day is really what's the game changer in your life. And one simple discipline would be not pushing your emotions down, talking to someone, having some way that you can pray through it and say, I really do feel this way. And it's okay that I feel this way. Communication is key. You're never going to build an empire if you don't know how to communicate. Releasing certain things, bless and release certain things from your life. Don't try to figure out what's right, what's wrong, why they did what they did. Jim Rohn says it best. Why would you expect a liar not to lie? They're a liar. You trying to de-perplex the perplexed only makes you perplexed. Why do they throw stones? Because they're the ones that throw stones. Why do they cheat? Because they're the ones that cheat. He says, don't sign up for that class. Don't even sign up for that class. Don't hold grudges. Just let the people be on their own journey and you search within, because no one's coming to rescue you. Your happiness is an inside job. You want things to be different than how they are? Expect a different result. Quit talking about what you don't want. Focus on what you want, not what you don't want. Energy, I'm telling you guys, money flows where energy goes. And so does drama. Drama flows where energy goes. And guess what? So does growth in a company. So does the death of a company. Like what you talk about, you will manifest. You will get it because every thought's a prayer and every prayer is answered. So there's certain people in our house, we just don't say their name. It's not allowed because we're not going to gossip. We wish things were different, but we're not going to talk about them. We pray for them more than we talk about them. I don't care what they've done to me. We don't talk about it. We felt through it. We know how they feel about us, and that's okay. We can't change that, but we can go be great. How many of you have a small town, big family where this is the thing all the time? You be the catalyst. You be the Barb in your family. We're not going to gossip. We're not going to talk about it. Are we building a kingdom or are we tearing it down? Same way in our company. We're not going to gossip. We're not going to tear people down. We're going to forgive people. We're going to love people. We're going to let them be authentic. We're going to meet them where they are. We're going to give them second chances. But the cancer inside a group, a church, a family, a company, your own family unit and household, what are the conversations? Are you building people up or are you tearing them down? Where I live, we talk about ideas. We talk about dreams. We talk about the future. We talk about solutions. There are no problems, just challenges that we can overcome and grow. It's a mindset. If there's anything I could tell you to discipline yourself every single day, it's this. We're doing a thing right now called Freak 44. 44 days of your mind, your body, your bank account, your eating, your diet, your reading, like all the things. And it's been really, really good for me because for 44 days, like if you're going to lead a challenge, you got to show up in the challenge, right? But the one part that I've mastered every single day is reading and really taking time. People take time to go meditate to get away from their worry, right? They're going to meditate and pray to get away from their worry. So what they do, they go sit and they meditate to try to not feel a certain way that they feel. What you need to do is feel through it, cry, scream, cry out to the Lord, get on your knees, beg, pray, repent, go jump in the lake and do your cold plunge. Dave offered to pay me $100 this morning to go jump in the lake. He's like, you could get a cold plunge if you just run down there and jump in the lake. It's 19 degrees. I'm like, if Chance was here, he would be on it. I don't care to do that. That doesn't help me mentally. That would give me fear and I would have acid in my belly, right? But you got to do what you got to do. Feel through the emotions. When you suppress what you've been through because you're afraid someone might know, you can't authentically tell your story in a group of girls or your small group at church or your sorority or your family unit or whatever your circle is. I never had a sorority, so I don't know. If you don't have a circle that you feel safe in, that you can be authentic, show up exactly how you are, and know that every woman in the circle will be clapping for you, not tearing you down, you're in the wrong circle. We have elephants all over my office in Kansas because in the jungle, a female elephant always celebrates a female elephant. If one is vulnerable and they're down, every elephant woman in the jungle gets around the other elephant, backs their butt up to her so they can see if there's a predator and she's going to be the prey. They're not letting anyone near her. When she gives birth, they raise their trunks like trumpets and they celebrate her because they're happy she's given birth. They're not over here like, why she gets to have a baby and I'm 50 years old and I never had a baby. No, they're celebrating that she's giving birth, celebrating growth, celebrating happiness, celebrating success. Some of you are in a circle where all the mama elephants are tearing down all the other mama elephants. That is going to lead you straight to death. Quick. Thoughts are things. We carry emotion in every organ in our body. If you're not vibrating at the highest vibration, I'm literally wearing jewelry all over my body that is tuned with 11 harmonic frequencies, EMF protection. It's in front of me. These are the new ones that they're all getting on the cruise. Is that not the most beautiful tuned tumbler you've ever seen? Shaking up my mushrooms and my minerals and my filtered water. And, I'm thinking to myself, my body is a vessel. God created me to be great. He created you to be great. What I put in must come out, not just what I eat, not just what I drink, but what I think about every single day. And I'm here to tell you, if you could change your thoughts, you could change your life. Food is free in the dumpster, but I'm not going to dig in there and get it. There's free information everywhere on the internet and the news. It's worth exactly what you're paying for it. Be careful what you let in here. Some of you need to get some new jelly in the donut, and that's not easy because once that jelly's in the donut, you about have to destroy it to get it out and make it go back, right? But what you're depositing, is it a deposit or a withdrawal mentally? How do you feel after you put it in? Because just like your bank account, you're going to end up overdrawn and bankrupt. Who's renting space in your brain? My last word, raise the rent, kick them out. Eviction notice sent. You need to get a good book, your Bible, your mentor, a podcast, something. And you need to put so much good in that what comes out when you're under pressure is all the good. That's how you grow the capacity to really lead. That's how you grow the capacity to handle things when the going is tough. Friday, I was on my way here to drive to the lake. I was going to fast. I was going to read. I was going to pray. I was going to get my speech ready for next week at convention. On the way here, I got a notice that a very important person coming on the cruise with me was not going to be able to go. And my hairdresser, who was going to color these roots, change my extensions, cut my hair, everything for the cruise and convention, biggest event of the year, sent me a message that said, I'm on bed rest till the end of March. And I'm in Oklahoma in a small town. I was going home to my appointments and then going straight to the airport. You guys, I wanted to have a full-blown meltdown. And I was reading this book and it said, do you know what? How you look on the outside has nothing to do with your own happiness or your own success. Quit worrying about if your lashes are perfect, if your eyebrows are dyed, if your roots are gray, what everyone else is going to see, because it's not about you. Hasn't been about you since the day you started. It's about you showing up and being authentic, that you can serve and witness to other people and not need outside validation. That's an important message. And I hope you guys got that. Feel through your emotions. Don't push them down. It will make you sick. Get in a good circle where all the women there will lift you up. And ask the question, who are you surrounded by? Are they building an empire or are they tearing it down? Some of them aren't even carrying a brick. They're just sitting there waiting for someone else to do it for them. You be the one. You don't have to stay stuck in that environment. Get up, make a move, get in the right circle, get your dreams big, get your goals big, take a massive and immediate action, because that's what cures the fear. And if you don't have somewhere to do that, someone in my circle will help you. Someone in my circle will help you. And today only, let me just end this broadcast and then I'll make an announcement. So I hope you guys have an amazing day. If you got something out of this, please share it. It's No Guts, No Story every single Saturday morning. And I'll see you guys next week. But here's the public service announcement. Today and today only, you can be on the team with whoever shared this with you for $1. $1. You can start your own business in a box, funnels, scripts, landing pages, email, text messaging, social media already made for you. It's $1. Get with the person that shared this with you and ask them how, and we will invite you into our circle where we're building people up and we're building a legacy company empire. Can't wait to see you there. Have a good day, everyone.